Welcome back, everyone. My name is Wesley, and I really hope you're about to enjoy this interview with Mr. Joseph Fokechukwu. But before I get started, please remember, like, share, subscribe. Big Tech is suppressing us, so the best way to get the truth out there is for you to share this video and also leave a comment down below. Let's have a discussion. Let's learn how to talk with each other as opposed to talking at each other. So, Mr. Chukwu, this is probably going to be my most interesting interview to date, being that you are actually, from Nigeria. Probably a lot of people would be confused as to why I'm reaching across the ocean there. But I saw I saw you posting some pro-Trump stuff on your page, and I also am trying to direct my channel to cover a lot of international concerns. Somewhat what the mainstream media was supposed to be doing, but they have forgotten how to be media recently. So my
Yes.
first question to you is, what is your background, and how did you come to be giving political commentary?
Well, my background is I am an entertainer. Okay, I'm a film actor. I come from Nollywood. Nollywood is an equivalent of what you have in Hollywood and Bollywood. And I have been doing this business for the past 20 years plus, okay? I have featured in more than 100 movies. I have starred in a few of them. I've produced a couple of them. And I studied my filmmaking in Hollywood at New York Film Academy and all of that. But in all my whole involvement in the media and all the stuff I have done, I've always had this activism in me as what I call positive activism. And why I call it positive is because I always wanted the best for humanity. I also wanted the best for my people. I come from a part of Nigeria that went to war in the 60s. Pretty much everybody knows about Biafran war. I mean, even the chairman of Apple, Steve Jobs, actually stopped going to church because of the level of killing that he witnessed in Biafra and how that the world powers could not do anything about it. And we lost millions of people massacred or starved to death in Biafra. That's where I come from. That's a place where up to this day, excuse me, the Nigerian government is still punishing these people politically for even what happened back in the 60s. So I come from a place where people know pain. They know a lot of suffering. And so I developed this thing in me that, definitely, I want to see people free because I've seen my people go through pain. I've seen them go through suffering. I've seen them go through a lot of economic emasculations and stuff like that. And I'm like, human beings should not live like this. So what happened was when I now found out for the first time in my life, I'd never really supported any president anywhere, whether it's in Africa or abroad or anywhere. But for the first time in my life in 2016, I just was going through some stuff on the internet and I saw Donald J. Trump running for president. I don't know what it was. I just perfunctorily, flipped through and I went my way because I don't get involved in politics, and I was like, who cares? Like, who is this one? What is he coming to do? And one day I was in my living room and I saw him on the screen speaking. Something hit me like a mighty, I don't know, it was like a shock. It just hit me. It was like God telling me, this one is my son. I want you to support him. I've never had any experience like that in my entire life. From that moment till this day, I've never seen anything like that. I became instantly obsessed with supporting Donald Trump. And I heard something in my spirit telling me that this man is going to help to free a lot of people who are living in bondage around the world. The bondage of slavery, economic slavery, colonial slavery. Because now much of Africa today still lives under the European imperialist regime, whether you like it or not. I mean, can you imagine the other time I made a video exposing France? France actually claimed that they had given independence to all their colonies in Africa, while behind the scene, they went and signed what they call the Pact for the Continuation of Colonialism. A pact for the continuation of colonialism signed by France. So if you come into power as a president in one of these French colonies in Africa and you do not actually follow that pact France will frame you up and they will either use a coup to remove you from power, or they will kill the person in power, or something strange will happen, or you see massive protests and they say, oh, this guy is corrupt, then they kick him out. Everybody had to follow that same satanic pact up till this day. And that's the same thing that happens with British colonies in Africa. Africans literally don't have any freedom. Nobody cares. Nobody talks about it. When I saw Donald Trump, something told me in my spirit, this is the only man who will be able to actually step up and now try to help those people who are living in this type of bondage. And that was why I made up my mind I was going to support Trump. And I started 2016. I did everything. I don't know how many questions you need to have, but I just want to go on and give you the history of my story with Trump. Okay, I started in 2016. My Facebook page, which is Joseph Okechukwu, you go there. If you can manage to scroll down all the way to 2016, you're going to see how much hate I got for supporting Trump. People told me, where in the world was I born? How can I from Africa be supporting a man like Trump? Nobody wanted to understand. They're like, who is this man? Is he sick? Is it that he's having some mental problem? I kept telling them, I said, this is what I saw in my house. This is what I know, that this is the deliverer we have been looking for. No, okay, I can tell you this, and I'm not lying. So many, almost maybe about a quarter of the people I had as friends on Facebook actually unfriended me. So many of them said, no, Joseph has gone crazy. He's now a lunatic. We don't know what is wrong with him. I don't want to, I associate with him anymore. Some of them called me names. They came on my page and called me names. And I was standing so strong. I told them, there is no God in heaven, that this man is going to be the president. Go check my page, you will see where I put it. They even came to tell me the night before the election, which was the worst night for anybody to be a Trump supporter, because the mainstream media had already told us that it is over. They said it was all over. In fact, people had already started saying, Madam President. And I said, I don't care what you guys think. I am going to celebrate here by this time tomorrow. They said, Joseph, you know what? We're going to come to your page to laugh at you. I said, let's see how that works. Eventually, all of them came to laugh with me. Okay? So then what happened? I was even using Nigerian local media to advertise my support for Trump. If you want to find out, you won't believe this. I spent my money and I wrote about my support for Trump in some of the most popular news medias in Nigeria. Just Google Joseph Okechukwu Trump. You will see the news publications I put out in Nigeria because of Donald Trump. 2016, it's out there in the open. So that was just how my whole love for Trump started in 2016.
Well, I now understand how you wound up on my feed. That makes a lot more sense now. That makes a lot more sense. So the friends that you lost, were they friends in Nigeria or they were friends in the United States?
A lot of my friends that I lost it was probably more like 50-50. Most of them were in Nigeria. In fact, I think more of them were in the United States of America, because the whole Obama thing had already gotten into their brain. I mean, people who are living in denial. You see a man who is called a black president, and things have gotten so worse for black people, and yet you still don't want to accept it. And I'm a realist. I don't believe in nonsense. I spoke against Obama long before he became the president of the United States. While I was there sitting in the United States of America, I was on Voice of America TV, and they asked me a question about Obama, even when he had just newly become president. And I told them, Obama is not a president for Africans. That this man is a president for the swamp, for the imperialist government of Europe. That this guy doesn't belong to Africa, and he's never going to do anything good for Africa. Just a few weeks after he became president. And people said, Joe, if you say this in black communities, they're going to lynch you. I said, thank you. I'm not going to no place to go and say, I'll just say what I believe in. And so people didn't believe me because I love when I see the truth. I don't like people dressing up the truth. The only time I tell people who listen to me on Facebook, I said the only type of pornography I love to watch is when the truth is naked and walking naked. I love to see it walk naked. That's my type of pornography. I don't watch any other type of pornography. So I don't like clothing the truth. Let it be naked. Let the world see it. So I told them, Obama is not for you. This man might be having a white skin, but this is the man that God has sent to save you and I. And they told me you were a lunatic. They just unfriended me and left. Till today, many of them, only a few of them finally came back. But let me tell you one good thing that happened to me when these people were unfriending me. So, you know, I loaded up my phone with a lot of money, credit on it. And then I was in Nigeria, and then I was calling to all my friends that I know who had already abandoned me. And I was calling and preaching to them like an evangelist who was trying to win a soul for Christ. I would spend 3, 4, 5 hours on the phone with just one person, trying to give them the details and the truths and the facts that the mainstream media does not want them to know. I was telling them this thing, and I ended up winning about 4 to 5 of them who actually eventually voted for Donald Trump. You will not believe this. People who didn't want to talk to me ended up voting for Trump, and they are still with Trump till this day. And they are even going ahead to win other people for Trump, thanking me for letting them know the truth up till this day.
Wow. It only takes like 5 minutes of watching real news before you realize that you've been lied to for years. So
Yes.
mainstream media, every once in a while, I'll do a video called the real news about the fake news, because the fake news they'll take like a 20-minute interview of Donald Trump, and they'll take out like 2 words here and 2 words here,
Yeah.
in completely separate sections of the interview, put them together, and they're like, oh my goodness, what did he say?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they do everything.
Yeah.
They have no credibility anymore, and that's why thousands of us have come to YouTube to share the truth.
And you know the funny thing, Wesley? The funny thing is, in Africa, you may not know this, that in Africa, the biggest cable TV provider in Africa is known as DSTV. Okay? They're the biggest in Africa. Everybody has to get hooked on DSTV. But the funny thing is, when you are on DSTV, the only news media we are exposed to in Africa, all of them are liberal, mainstream liberal news media. Our people don't get any opportunity to hear the other side of the story. You have to go to one type of analog type of TV provider before you can think of getting facts and stuff like that. These guys, only thing we hear is CNN. CNN is king in Africa. So whatever CNN says about Trump is what the people believe. That's why 90-something% of Africans actually believe exactly everything CNN says about Trump. And when people like us rise up, they look at us as we're so isolated. Like, what is this guy talking about? This is what CNN said. And I'm trying to let them know that CNN is the house of lies. The CNN, nobody lies better than CNN. I've been carrying the campaign on for so long, and thank God I have a show on Facebook. A lot of people are beginning to understand. If you want to know how much work I have put into this thing that I've done for Donald Trump, check out Breitbart News. Check out any post from Donald Trump on Facebook. When you see, if you see 100 Africans posting stuff in favor of Trump, let me tell you this without any fear of being considered or anything, about 90 to 93% of them are people that have heard about Trump, something positive about Trump from me. I have carried this campaign like only I have been the lone voice on the whole continent, more like talking about, saying something positive about Donald Trump. And because I'm celebrity, when I say stuff, people kind of like, well, who is this guy? What do you know? Let me shock you. Recently, because I have something I'm putting together for Trump, right? Because I want nearly every African diaspora in America to vote for Trump in 2020. And I have a program I've lined up. I'm going to be launching it in a few months' time. Now, I went to some of my fellow celebrities and I told them, I want us to do a shout out to Donald Trump. I've never said it to any human being alive. This is the first time I'm revealing this. And I talked to them. I said, listen, I want you guys to give a shout out to Donald Trump to encourage him. The guys on the left are trying to squeeze the life out of this guy. And everything they said to him is a lie. They're just trying to frustrate him. So I want us to just encourage him and give him a shout out. And these guys, nearly all of them are people who actually closet lovers of Donald Trump. They love Trump. But unfortunately, they say, no, Joe, if we do this in the open, we're going to lose our contracts. See, because the whole entertainment framework or structure here is controlled by people who are leaning liberal. So they will not do that. And I, for one, I don't care whether you give me a job or you don't give me a job. I don't care. I follow my heart and I go where I believe in my stuff. I told them one thing. Donald Trump is the only president in the world today who stood up and told the jihadi president of Nigeria that you are going to stop killing Christians. If you don't, America is going to do something about it. Now, some of our people who are in America, 90% of them are the same Christians whose families are being massacred in Nigeria. And then I asked them what Donald Trump asked the black community. I said, what have you got to lose? Your families are being killed by foreigners who are jihadis. They come as Fulani herdsmen. The president of Nigeria does not give a damn. He doesn't care. He just allows the killing to go on. People are being killed. They're losing their villages and communities. The massacre of Christians in Nigeria is unprecedented. It's as nothing you've ever heard of or seen anywhere in the world. And yet, no president anywhere in the world has spoken against it. Not even the British people who are benefiting from the chaos in Nigeria. Trump is the only man because, you know, the globalists can't control him. They didn't bring him to power. The man speaks his mind. He is on a different divine timeline. So when I tell people, listen, there's a reason why I'm following Trump. Trump is not an American president. He's a universal president. And if you have brains and still have any sense left in you, you will have to rally behind this man, because once we come behind Trump and support him, wherever you are, whatever level of slavery you're going through, this man will be used by God to free a lot of people, because he answers to nobody on the global scale. He's just answering to God. He doesn't even know the things he does by himself. And that was what has been going on here. And I'm so happy and thankful that a lot of people are suddenly beginning to get the message right now. That's what's happening.
So how do you feel about Don Lemon?
About who?
Don Lemon.
Don Lemon. I don't even know what that name stands for. I don't know who that guy is. I stopped watching that person probably about 2-3 years ago. I don't listen to him anymore. That person is so un-African. He is so unrealistic. He's so fake, just as fake as his news media that he works with. I mean, everything about the guy. Let me tell you the truth. I hate a lot of things about CNN and the people who work there. Okay, and I don't hate humanity. I love people so much. Okay, I don't even like, if you know Tommy. What's his name in the UK?
Tommy Robinson.
Thank you very much. That they were messing up. I was the one who carried campaign against what they're doing to Tommy. And Tommy is a British guy, he's a white guy. I was leading the campaign against what they were doing to him, because he was trying to expose the Islamic cells in the UK that are destroying and raping people. I don't care. I don't really look at people's color and all of that. But you see, of all the people on CNN who are stooling on their masses, the people who listen to them, Don Lemon takes the cake. His own is the worst. I've never seen anything like Don Lemon in my life. And you know, when you're hateful towards something, I tell people all the time, if you hate somebody, the moment you want to express your hatred, try to express it in a very factual way, so that people can believe that you're still a human being, even in your expression of hatred. You understand? But when you do it like a buffoon and with so much lies, it makes you a little less than a human being. And that's how I see Don Lemon. I'm sorry to say, but that's how I see him.
No, that's how most of us see him too. So
it's crazy.
So I'm surprised that CNN is so is pushed so hard in Africa. I wouldn't think of that. What does CNN gain from sending their hatred of message of hatred to Africa?
The only thing they gain is, Wesley, I don't know how much you know this, because I do just a little bit of research. I'm not that big in it, but I just do a little bit. But when you talk about the swamp in America, when you talk about colonial wickedness in Africa, when you talk about CNN and liberal media, all these things I just mentioned to you are one and the same. The swamp, the CNNs, and the liberal media as a whole, and the colonization in Africa, all coming from the same source, the same tree. Do you see the connection now? So when we had a good president in Nigeria, his name is Jonathan, President Goodluck Jonathan, right? Do you know that because Goodluck Jonathan decided he was no longer going to just do the path of licking the butts of the colonialists from Europe, they framed him up and tagged him the worst corrupt president in Nigerian history. And he was very effective in fighting Boko Haram. But because he was really fighting Boko Haram really good, and we on the ground knew he was doing a good job, Europeans, the British people, the MI5s, and all these guys went through CNN, because, you know, whenever they want to destroy a nation, they send the media. So they went through CNN, and CNN was literally living in Nigeria. They relocated to Nigeria. They were not going anywhere. They would interview people to say negative things about the president. They were spewing out all kinds of trash and lies against the government, and they stayed at it until they were able to kick this guy out. Today, Wesley, Nigeria is the worst it's been since the creation of this fake thing they call a country. Nigeria has never seen this level of suffering, of suicide cases associated with poverty. Nigeria has never seen anything like this ever since I've been alive in my entire life. But today, despite the rate of suicide going on in Nigeria due to the hardship, due to the misgovernance from the current regime, CNN, BBC, the rest of them, nobody wants to show up. They don't want to say anything. You know why? Because the current government we have in Nigeria today actually was almost single-handedly handpicked and installed there by the British colonial government. These are the guys who own it. And these are the people who own CNN. Don't think CNN is not African, is not American. CNN is British. CNN is controlled out of the Buckingham Palace. I gotta tell you that if you don't know it today. It is the colonialists who own CNN, and they're the people who use CNN to do their dirty jobs in Africa. That's why anytime a president or any leader comes anywhere, whether it's in Africa or in America, and you are against the swamp or against the globalists, CNN will attack you like they've never attacked anything. It's a globalist-owned network. You don't expect them to think for the people. They can only think for the globalists. They can never think for the people. And so Trump came on board and became a man of the people. CNN, by nature, spontaneously, would just rise up against Trump, and that's what they're doing in Africa. They are trying to bend Africans' mind against Trump, but unfortunately, right now, with the voices of people like me and one or two people who have been listening to me, the thing is backfiring because people are already beginning to see what we're telling them, that CNN is just being hateful and not factual.
Wow. There's a lot going on there. So, did Obama do anything for Africa?
None that I know of. I don't know anything that he did for Africa. I mean, if anybody knows what he did for Africa, they can hit me up on Facebook and let me know. I can publicize that and then praise him for that, at least have something to say good about him. But I don't see one thing Obama did for Africa. Obama brought a curse on Africa. The president we have in Nigeria today is a curse on the nation. Obama brought this curse. Let me tell you the truth. 90%, or maybe, let me not go too far, maybe 80 or 85% of the Christians who live in Nigeria today, especially those from Eastern Nigeria, they hate Obama with a passion. You know why? Because Obama single-handedly brought the curse that is on them today. This regime in Nigeria, a regime that, Wesley, let me help you to understand something here, please. The International Terrorist Index or Terrorism Index, they have rated the Fulani herdsmen as the third most deadly terror group on earth. As I speak to you now, the Nigerian government has not as yet opened its mouth to officially call them a terrorist group.
Who?
They have not even been proscribed. But a group of people who are agitating for freedom of the nation state called Biafra, these guys they call the indigenous people of Biafra guys, who are just armless. They're not armed. They are defenseless. The government of Nigeria within 72 hours quickly went and got an order from the court to proscribe them as a terrorist organization. But the guys who are massacring people, cutting up people's heads, chopping up people's limbs every day, displacing Christians from their homes, the Nigerian government has not even called them terrorist organization. They have not said that. They don't believe they are terrorist organization. Who brought this government on us today? It's the worst government we've had since Nigeria ever came into being. Who brought it up on us today? It's Obama. Anybody who knows anything good Obama has done for Africa, I dare the person to come out and challenge me. Let's have a debate in the open. Let them come and talk to me. I would like to have a beautiful debate with them. If they win me, let the world see that they have won me. Obama was a curse on the African continent. That's why I told them on Voice of America TV that this man is not for you Africans. Those of you who are going crazy in Africa that we got an African president, Black America, whatever nonsense. He is not for you. The globalists use that guy to play games on humanity, just so that the black people who get unnecessarily emotional will just be emotional and be crying and weeping like Oprah and Jesse Jackson and all those people crying nonsense they cry over there. These are just unnecessary emotionalism. They just, after all that, they deceived you. Blacks didn't fare better in America under Obama. They fare worse under him than any other time. Okay, compare the life of black people in America under Obama to what it is now at this stage. Trump has not even finished his first term in office. They go and check the indices, check everything. Blacks are living far better now in America than they lived throughout the whole 8 years of Obama presidency. Now you talk about Africa. If he couldn't do much for his own brethren in America, what would he do for Africans? Nothing. He came and destroyed us more. And that's what we remember him for. The man who came and devastated Africa and destroyed our regime that is in Nigeria was trying to do something good for us. This is what he did. Everywhere he went, he left a trail of suffering and agony. That's what is happening. Look at Libya. You know about Libya more than I do. What did he do for Africa? Nothing. Toppling regimes that made sense and then bringing the ones that were going to destroy our people. That's how I remember Obama.
Wow.
Sadly.
So since Trump has been in office, what has he done to affect Africa?
I'll give you examples right now. And this is a man who has not even completed first term in office. You know, I told you a while ago about France and what France is doing. France is the worst colonial power I've ever thought of in my life. Britain, they are the same thing, but France is the worst ever. France is like when you have demons and you have the devil himself. France is the devil. That's who they are in Africa. Now, look at what is going on. France has made sure that Cameroon does not wake up and become. You can see that Cameroon has a president who has been there for like 4 decades. And you saw the one in Togo, he was in power until he died. I think he was in power for 50 years. And these are the people who come to preach to us about democracy. When somebody doesn't do what they want, they say, no, he's just done only 2 years in power. Why is he still in power? But they are the ones who practically run the regime in Ivory Coast. France practically runs the regime in Cameroon. And Cameroon has been killing and devastating Christians. If you see the level of killing, there was one video that was trending at some point in 2018 where the Cameroonian soldiers took some women with their children and marched them to where they were going to be shot. And when they got them there, they opened fire on them, videoed it, and killed women with their babies on their backs. This is going on every day in Cameroon. Guess what? The European powers didn't see anything wrong in it. China, of course, would never see anything wrong in it because China is here for what it gets. Okay? The only man who got up and said, I am not just going to see what is happening, I'm going to take action, was Donald J. Trump. And just in case, I'm going to show, I want to read something so you can Google it for people who are listening to you, because I believe in facts. I don't do hearsay. I want you to, recently, Donald Trump actually withheld something from Cameroon. There was, let me look at it here. Let me look at it. I'm going to find it here. Trump, U.S. removes Cameroon from trade pact. I want you to Google that, please. The U.S. removes Cameroon from trade pact. Once you Google that, you're going to see the news everywhere. Reuters has it. CNN has it. CBC has it. Washington Post has it. Cameroon has been removed from a special trade pact that they had with the U.S., a trade pact that actually benefits the nation. And the reason they were removed was because Trump said that these guys, their human rights record is falling. And he removed it. Nobody else has scared Cameroon like that. And Trump is actually moving further to say he's probably going to look into the whole issue of selling arms to Cameroon. He's trying to actually squeeze the regime and get them to understand that they cannot continue to punish their people because they want to impress the colonial masters. And that's just Cameroon. What about Nigeria? Remember when Buhari came to America? Buhari was in America and then signed all that deal. Trump hadn't known much about him then. And they signed all the deal. They were going to send them weapons and all of that. What happened? People are not asking questions. Why is it that President Trump has not been able to supply all that weapons? Recently, Buhari went to Russia to go and look for weapons because Trump has been already informed that much of the weapons they are giving to this guy is going to be used to kill Christians. You are fighting Boko Haram, but the people you say you're fighting, Wesley, Nigeria is the one country I know today. I want you to confirm everything I'm telling you. A country where terrorists, Boko Haram is rated as the either the deadliest terror group on earth or the second deadliest. The Fulani herdsmen have already been rated as the third deadliest terror group in the world. Two of them they call Nigeria their home. Two of them live in Nigeria. And do you know that people from these terrorist groups, actually, they come out and say, oh, we've stopped fighting now, we've surrendered. And the Nigerian government would take them and put them into the army. Most of the people in the Nigerian army today are people who claim they have already repented from Boko Haram. And we're not talking about 10, 20, 50. We're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of them. This is the regime we have in Nigeria today. This is the regime we have in Nigeria today. So Trump already knew that. And he decided, no, we're going to delay this and we're not going to let this happen. So they quickly went to Russia to see if they're going to buy stuff from Russia. But that's not all. There's a man called Ambassador Brownback, okay? I think he's the head of the religious persecution agency stuff that Trump set up. So they go to different countries where there are cases of religious persecution, and then they get report back to Donald Trump. This man and the entire agency have been to Nigeria more than 3 to 4 times in the last 1 year, just to get facts. The news, the mainstream media, CNN will never tell you this. They have even been to the locations where Christians were being killed and persecuted and displaced in their home. Thousands of acres of land belonging to Christians completely taken over by terrorists. And nobody is saying anything about it. So these guys took word back to Trump. And just sometime in August of last year, I guess, the Heritage Foundation now invited the same victims of religious persecution from Nigeria, and they went there and had a meeting with these people. And Vice President Pence's staff also had meetings with them. And for the first time, they got a first-hand information from the victims themselves, not the kind of official stuff, politically correct stuff they're hearing from the government of Nigeria. And so at that meeting, Heritage Foundation, for the first time, refused to invite the Nigerian embassy to that meeting, and the Nigerian embassy was angry about that, and even went to the media to say that they can't believe that such a thing would happen, and that those people that they were interviewed were actually lying against the government, and it's not true. The people were telling the truth. One of the women they said she was lying was the mother of Leah Sharibu. Leah Sharibu is a Christian girl that was taken hostage for many years now, and because they told her to deny Christ, and she said she will not deny Jesus Christ, and the people heard him, and everybody heard her there, and people are saying that they may even have killed. The government isn't doing so much. They went quickly and released most of the other ones who were Muslims, and also some Christians there, but they couldn't do much to release Leah Sharibu. So everybody is putting pressure on the government to do more to see that Leah Sharibu is released, because since the government has negotiation with the Boko Haram people, they always negotiate with them through their back channels. Why can't they negotiate to let this girl come out? That's why the mother was frustrated. She went to America and told the truth. And the Nigerian government said that she was lying. How can she be lying? We know the truth she told is the truth. All of us know the truth. So Trump is the only person who has given that kind of platform. And it is based on the testimony of these victims that Donald Trump is now putting together a policy on Africa, especially Nigeria, which is going to benefit the rest of us. But they're not going to let you know that in Africa. In fact, one of the women who escaped from Boko Haram was in the White House to shake hands with Donald Trump. It's all over there in the media. And even told Donald Trump her story. Which president in American history, in the world, could do something like that? victims of religious persecution, invited to his White House. And he met with them. A woman who had never even seen the governor of her state, even probably the local government chairman of her state, she has not seen. She's meeting with the president of the United States of America, the most powerful president in the world. How do you explain that? This has nothing to do with your skin color. We are faced with a major breakthrough, but our world is failing to understand it. Donald Trump is not for America, it's for all the enslaved and persecuted people around the world. And my message to the world is, the world needs to know who Trump is. They need to stop being biased and listening to mainstream media, because what mainstream media is doing is causing them brain cancer. The information they give them is cancerous. Let them begin to listen to their heart. I bet you they will hear God telling them that this man is our own second chance in this life. And the moment he's done and gone, it's going to be all hell. All hell is going to be let loose. So now that we have him, I hope that the world will appreciate this and take advantage of the presence of Donald Trump, because he's a man out of season.
Wow. Mainstream media has definitely not been telling us any of that.
No, they won't.
So I do see on occasion, like when he's posting from this White House account, seeing things that he's doing, and I vaguely remember him speaking on the what do you call it, human rights violations on the continent of Africa.
Yes.
Mainstream media is really avoiding these things, which is why we're all here.
Exactly.
Oh, so how commonly do you travel between Nigeria and the United States?
Well, I haven't been to the United States recently, but I'm planning a trip to the U.S. Because I'm doing a lot in Africa, but I'm planning a trip to the U.S. in 2020. And I'm hopefully I will be on ground, to help most of our people, to mobilize Africans, specifically for Donald Trump, because I have a lot going on in Africa. But my visit to the U.S., which I'm planning that it goes through, will be for me to make sure that whatever happens, that Africans get to know the truth. There are a lot of Africans who are living in the U.S. who are now naturalized. They are citizens, millions of them. And so many of them are leaning towards this balderdash that they hear from the mainstream media. And some of them come to me on Facebook and they write me and they say, Joe, this, that. But now it's reduced. There are more who are now knowing the truth. To be honest with you, I didn't even think that in 1,000 lifetimes that I would be able to convince this number of people. So many of them have now come to know the truth. So I believe that maybe when I'm on ground in the U.S., I'm going to be able to touch so many, because while I was more active in the U.S. going to school, I had driven myself to about 35 states in the U.S., just researching the life of Nigerians and Africans in America. And I did a small documentary on that. I'm serious. I published 2 books in America. That's just who I am. I told you how my spirit works. So I get to know these people. I know how to reach them. I know where to get to them. We're going to have town hall meetings with our people. I'm going to speak to them much like what Candace Owens is doing now. And this my little boy doing. These are the things we want to do for our own African people. They need to know the truth, that if they don't actually support this man, they're going to wake up one day and realize that their homes have been overrun by terrorists. Terrorists are official in Nigeria. In fact, terrorists run the show in Nigeria. You don't know what is going on. And our people over there in America don't understand. They don't know what is happening. That if you don't support this man, the only person who can stand up and do what one thing you got to love about Trump, which is why I'm so thankful that I'm a Trump supporter, is this. The man does not care about your script. He speaks out of this. He's not a teleprompter president. You know what I'm saying? And that thing, it drives them nuts, and it makes me so happy all the time. Look at what happened in Hong Kong today. Look at the bill he signed for Hong Kong. This is universal freedom we are dealing with here. All the way from America. He's dealing with Cameroon. He's dealing with Hong Kong. And very soon, if care is not taken, despite what the nonsense that the mainstream media is telling you about the Kurdish people, you're going to see that Trump is working on the ground to help the Kurdish people too. But they will not tell you that. This man wants the freedom of the nations that have been oppressed all over the world. And the people don't know that. So if I come to the United States of America, I'm going to make sure, you bet I will. I don't care what it takes. I will make sure that as many of people as are possible, as I can reach, get to know who Donald Trump is, what he stands for, and just stop listening to the lies and begin to pay attention to the truths. Because the truth is just out there. You just need to reach it and take it. It's there.
Yes. So, what do you think were some fascinating things you learned about African descendants in the United States?
Well, the most fascinating thing I've learned about them, our people, I think there's a lot of both. Okay, I'll tell you negative and positive. Okay, the negative aspect of it is the herd mentality. This herd mentality. Everybody is going here. Okay, let's all go there. That's what's up now. That's the hip thing to do. Let's go there. Africans sometimes, and I'm sorry to say this because I'm a typical African man, but sometimes it's like we don't think deep enough. We're very shallow in our thinking. We get unnecessarily emotional. And I hate that the Democratic Party actually exploits that. They understand that Africans are very emotional. So they always exploit it. They want to give you sugar-coated kind of nonsense that don't actually have any roots. And then tell me how, Wesley, tell me how that any African today will wake up and knowing what the Democrats have done to African population in America, still stand and say they hate Trump or that they love Obama and they love the Democratic Party. What has the Democratic Party done for the Africans in America? Look, I am not a natural born American. I've lived in America for some time. I can tell you what I have seen with my eyes going through the black communities under Obama regime. What have you done? An entire generation of black people wasted, and our people are still being, being used today to come and say and talk nonsense because they don't know any better. So what we are doing is that's why when you see somebody like Candace Owens, okay, when she's talking, people think, oh, this one is talking white people talk and all of that, because when you think out of the box, they begin to look at you as an alien. They want you to keep thinking. That's why I call it herd mentality. Everybody wants to go in the same. We are like a herd. Just follow there and go there. I don't like that about my people in America. The one thing I like about them, because there are two sets of Africans in America. You have the African Americans, and then you have the Africans who migrated to the U.S., maybe from Nigeria, Ghana, so whatever, to America, and then they naturalize and all of that. And they're working there. Those guys are different. The African Americans are equally different. They have their own issues, and then the other Africans have their own issues. If you look at the other Africans who migrated from Africa, who were not born in America, they go there with a different type of mentality. They want to go and achieve. They want to make it. They don't believe anybody's holding them down. But you see, the funny thing is that right now, they are trying to make them think like our people who also suffer still from the psychological trauma of slavery, which is affecting them. So most of the time when I come in contact with them, I tell them, you need to free yourself from this mental slavery. You're not being held anymore. You're still behaving like somebody who was in the prison, and the prison doors are thrown open, and yet you still behave as if the doors are still closed, because psychologically what you see is a closed door. You need to wake up and realize that the door is open. Run through the open door and escape, and stop blaming everybody for being in jail. You are no longer in jail. You are the reason you're still in jail today. The doors are open. Run through and get away. That's what we're trying to let them. That's what Candace is trying to tell them. That's what I'm trying to tell our people. Even the ones who migrated from here, went to America, I'm trying to let them know, listen, you cannot be like these guys. You need to pay attention. Those ones have a mind of their own. It's easier to convince them than my other brothers and sisters who are born in America. So when I talk to them, I give them facts. The problem with liberalism, Wesley, is, I'm going to say something very funny, and maybe you're going to laugh. I said to myself, I'm never going to marry a liberal. You know what? You know why? Because I love very objective discussions. You can't have any objective discussion with a liberal. You know why you can't have objective discussion with them is that when you tell a liberal the truth, a liberal gets angry with you for telling them the truth. And you will think that what they're looking for is the truth. I thought the whole essence of our discussion is to get out the truth or get at the truth. Now I'm telling you the truth and you're angry with me for telling you the truth. So the truth, regardless, I'm still going to be my liberal. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I don't want that kind of lifestyle. That's why I said it's a mental slavery. Liberalism is worse than flakka. You know, when somebody's on flakka. Yeah? Drug. Liberalism is a mental health problem, and we need to deal with it. So when I talk to people, I address them as a psychiatrist, trying to like help them. I won't tell them that, but that's what I'm doing, because if you don't deliver them from that, they're going to get lost. How can you tell me that you know the truth and you still don't want to work with the truth? What are you looking for then? It's a mental health problem. Because if it's not a mental health problem, you're going to tell me, okay, I want the truth. Someone like me, you can't convince me about anything unless you show me the truth. And if I see the truth, I surrender. But liberals don't want to surrender even when they see the truth. That's why I know it's a psychological problem. You understand? So that's how I see our black people in America. And because of that little knowledge I have, I'm going to approach them, because even in 2016, when I was convincing people to come and vote for Trump, I was speaking to African Americans too, and I was able to win about 2 or 3 of them. And they are still Trump voters still today. And then the rest of the people were my own people from Africa who migrated to the US. So we're going to do a more massive campaign this time around to ensure that at least 60 to 70% of these people vote for Trump in 2020.
Wonderful. Well, it's working, because recently the Emerson and Rasmussen polls came out, and apparently within the past couple of months, Trump's black support has doubled. It's up to
There you go.
approval.
It's going to grow.
Yeah. The Democrats have not helped themselves at all with this impeachment scandal.
Exactly.
Oh. I think you've covered most of my questions. You've talked a lot about the political situation in Nigeria. You've definitely talked a lot about the problems facing Nigerians right now, which would be the colonialism of Great Britain and France, and also them not caring about what goes on in Africa.
Yeah.
Why on earth would these powers just not care about Africa? What do they think? What do they get out of Africa by causing so much hatred?
Yeah, because Africa is super blessed. You know, the former president of France, Jacques Chirac, I want you to look this up on the internet. He said, let's face the fact that if we were not for Africa, that France would descend into the ranks of third world nations. If we were not for the exploitation of France in Africa, that France would descend into the ranks of third world nations. And that tells you the story of why Europe does not want to leave Africa alone. Take, for instance, the Democratic Republic of Congo is the most naturally endowed place on the surface of this earth. There is no natural resource on earth that is not found in Congo. And now Belgium have vowed that for as long as resources are there, there's always going to be war in those places. So Congo has not stopped fighting war since they became Congo till today. People die there every day. Colonial powers from Europe do not want to leave Africa alone, and Africans ain't helping the matters at all. Africans are being brainwashed on daily basis. That's why they give us CNN, so that CNN will continually hold us down and make us not to think out of the box and think of our freedom. That's why the moment I found a leader who can think out of the box, I jumped on him. And I'm trying to grab other people to come. Maybe we have a chance for the first time ever. Today in Nigeria, under the control of the British government, the Nigerian government is looking to give death penalty. Death penalty. Are you listening to me, Wesley? Death penalty on people who criticize the government on social media. Death penalty. Think about all the things people have said about Donald Trump. Think about people who cut off his head and hold it up. Think about all the stuff that Snoop Dogg was doing about Trump and shooting on his image and all of that. Look at all that nonsense. Nobody has been killed. Nobody has been arrested. The government of Nigeria wants to give death penalty to people who criticize the government on social media. This is what is happening in Nigeria today. The mainstream media, CNN, will never tell you this. This is what is going on. So the colonial powers are doing everything within their power to see that they hold Africa down. that Africa does not rise up at all, because the moment Africa rises up, there will be problem. I mean, this is what is happening. Look at, you saw what Trump did with NATO, right? The Europeans, you don't know that America is just like Africa. It's just that America is a more developed, colonized nation. Europe had colonized America until Donald Trump came. What do you call swamp? In case you don't know, swamp is actually the presence of the colonial European masters in America. It's their representatives. Check out every single person in that your swamp. Every one of them is connected to Europe. Look at Christopher Steele. Look at the dossier. Where is it from? The UK. All of them that make up the swamp, 99% are from Europe. Europeans are the ones who have been colonizing America, and Trump came to save America. That is the truth of the matter. Trump came to save America from these European colonizers. He came to save America. That's why I believe that today, if we all can rise up and support Trump the way he pulled away from NATO, that's why America was spending money on NATO. Why would NATO be there and be making America spend so much money? Because every time they want to do a dirty job in Africa or somewhere, they use America. They used Obama just like that. Every nonsense they did in Africa, they used Obama to do it. Today, Trump is not allowing anybody to use him. He is American president for Americans. And when people ask me, why is Trump not done much yet for Africa? I give them the fact of what he has done so far, and I tell them what is going on with Trump right now. And in case even Americans who are listening need to pay attention. Let me tell you this, You know, the first term of Donald Trump in office is dedicated to saving America first of all. If you want to save another person, if you don't have a ground on which to stand, you will not be able to save. What Trump has done in the first term is to first of all deliver America from the shackles of imperialist regimes of Europe, and then get a ground to stand on. That's why he's pulling troops away from different places, because what they have done was to take American troops to different places and, and fragment it, so that if anything happens, America will become so weak. So Trump is consolidating American power to America and Americans. That's what he's doing, making America powerful. Right now, after he's done this within the first term in office, in his second term in office, he's going to begin to look out. By then, he already has a strong ground on which he is standing. That's why I know he's a two-term president, and there's nothing that can stop that. Mark my words, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. He's going to be a two-term president.
Oh, yeah, we all believe you. Everyone that's not watching mainstream media and actually just, thinking critically, we understand Trump is here to stay.
Yes, he's here to stay.
So, what are you expecting for his second term then?
Well, what I'm expecting from his second term is exactly what I have just told you now. I've told you that by the second term of Trump in office, Donald Trump is going to do more for the international community. You see, the Kurdish people, the Biafrans of Nigeria, and the people in Cameroon, the Amazonians in Cameroon, and all these other people who are persecuted all over the world. You go write this down today and put a date under it. Trump is going to begin to pay attention to all these people. You don't expect him to do so much right now that he is trying to save his nation. Look at what he's going through in America. Except if you're a blind or dead person, that you won't see what is going on. Look at Adam Schiff. Look at that funny man, what he's doing with Pelosi. These people don't have a single fact. They're just actors, like Hollywood actors, acting on lies, make believe, no single truth. For more than 2 years, I followed every single detail of the rubbish lie they told concerning the Russia collusion. The collusion delusion came and passed, and people in the liberal fold are still believing these guys. How can Adam Schiff, who told us that he had plausible evidence, unquestionable, that he was so sure that the evidence is clear that when Americans see it, they will believe him? How can he come out again and make me believe him over this impeachment nonsense when all of that nonsense ended up? How many taxpayers' money? How much was spent? Millions. Nothing happened. And you want me to come and believe Adam Schiff again? All this they are doing is to punish Donald Trump. They want to wear him out. It's not like they really want to, do anything to him. They want to wear him out. They want him to look bad. They want to say, on his record, there was an impeachment proceeding on his record. They just want to put this on his CV. They know there is no basis for impeaching Trump. They will never, look, I'm talking to you from Africa. Tell them that I said they will never be able to impeach Trump. They just want to put dirt on his body. They don't want to do anything. They can't do anything to him. But this is how wicked these guys are. They are lunatics. They are lunatics. So this thing is what Trump is trying to deal with in America. He wants to deal with people like Adam Schiff. We need to drain the swamp first of all. After draining the swamp, then Trump can face the rest of the world and begin to partner with different groups of people who will begin to get themselves free from colonial slavery. I am one of the people that will partner with Donald Trump to free my Biafran people from the shackles of colonial slavery. We cannot continue to live like this. They are killing my people. They killed them for so many years and they're still killing them today. Nobody's talking about it. The place where I come from is about 45 million people or more, and 99.9% are Christians. And they get killed all the time. At the drop of a hat, somebody's killed. And nobody cares. Mainstream media will not do it. CNN will not talk about it. BBC will not talk about it. They are more interested in painting an evil regime good. Make the whole world see the regime in Nigeria to look good when we know it's the most wicked regime we've ever seen. That's what they're doing. So Trump's second term, I have so many high hopes. And it's not because I have the hopes, it's because I know it is true, it's going to happen. That's why I'm telling the whole world to wake up. Let us stand by this man. This man came for freedom. You don't know the value of what you have until you lose it. That's what I'm telling the world. You don't know. It is when Trump is done and gone that the world will get to realize what manner of man has come through our world.
Wow. So I think we've kind of exhausted every subject we can cover for now. So if you have any last thoughts for the viewers, you're welcome to share them.
Well, the last thought I have for the viewers is I want to encourage everybody. Don't be moved. Don't be shaken. Stay strong. And let us continue to pray for Donald Trump. Let me make this last statement. You know, I'm a Christian. I'm a very good Christian. And I read the Bible a lot. The Bible says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. You have seen for the first time in my life, I have seen where witches come out in the open. You know, liberalism is so evil. These guys come out in the open and say they want to cast spell on a sitting president. And they make it a media event and talk about it. It's out there in the media. Witches, witchcraft, they come out and cast a spell. And they really mean it. During 2016 election campaign, they were actually casting spell. And I remember one day when the witches had made a time and given themselves their timeline when they want to cast a spell on Trump. And Trump was supposed to be having a debate with Madam Hillary. Huh? You know what I did when that debate was going on? I wish I took a picture of myself. I went on my flat screen TV and I put my hand like this on Donald Trump's face on the TV, and I was speaking in tongues and pleading the blood of Yeshua on him, and I was praying constantly for him while that was going on. Christians need to wake up. Let's stop being lazy. These guys are using everything at their disposal to fight this war. They are using Satanism, they are using witchcraft, they are using everything. We can't just sit on social media alone. If you know how to pray, pray. If you know how to think good thoughts, think your good thoughts towards him. But keep him in prayer, because impeachment nonsense is over. It has collapsed already like the collusion delusion. And so frustration in their camp is increasing. So what they're going to be thinking of now is, how do we get rid of him? Take my word for it. How do we get rid of him is what is going to be on their lips right now. So we must protect Donald Trump. We must pray for him, and we must look out for him, and we must speak for him at any given time. This man doesn't have to die, and I know he won't. He has to be here to fulfill the purpose for which God brought him to our world, and I know it's going to happen. So those are my last thoughts.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed this interview, and I look forward to sharing it with my viewers, and I hope it really picks up.
Yeah, so, hopefully.
You want to go ahead say goodbye to whoever might be viewing the video?
All right. Goodbye, everybody. I love you all. Thank you so much. Stay Trumpy, and I'll see you guys some other time.
All right. With that, I'll go ahead and end the recording. Thank you
All
very
right.
much,
Thank you, man.
everyone, for watching.